On today's Minute of the Apes, we figure out what we're going to talk about in betweens, and it happens every time. Sean, you're away going potty or something like that. Richard and I start having conversations, and it's really what happens every time we record.
I was filing some paperwork, and then y'all
we start going on. You don't even know what it is, so we're not going to tell you.
Take your stinking paws off me, you damn dirty ape! Exercise would an ape make a human down? It talks. We are the keepers of the divine bound. It is our only reason for survival. We are determined to know what the apes want, war or peace. The only good human is a dead human!
Hello, and welcome to Minute of the Apes. That almost sounds like a movie phone.
Hello.
We're the daily podcast where we break down every minute of the Planet of the Apes movies, 1 minute at a time. That was Richard and Sean. I'm Todd. It is Thursday, and we are up to minute 89. Sean?
Hey, as of this minute, we've only got 10 minutes to go in the movie.
Wow.
Yeah, all right.
It's only taken us like 3 years to record this movie.
Yeah. All right.
Tell us what's going on.
At minute 89, we have Zero asking if that's what man wanted oil for, and ends with what appears to be Hasline's car pulling up to a dock.
Let's take a listen to minute 89 of Escape from the Planet of the Apes.
Is that what man wanted oil for? To kill fish?
You don't like them very much, do you?
Who?
Humans.
We met hundreds since we've been here. And I trust 3. Mama. He wants feeding.
Oh, yes, well, there must be someplace cleaner than this. I'll look around.
As minute 89, we have a planet's worth of humans plus 3 living smart apes and 1 dead ape.
I just realized, I wonder if anyone can hear it. My allergies are kicking so hard right now that the way I told you to pause just a second ago is me to take a breath and go, I hate allergies. So, you guys help me with this, because the whole correlation to this stinks of man, oil, fish, is that what... Does she say that's what man wanted oil for? Is that the biggest non sequitur that's occurred?
The minute before, he says, that's oil and dead fish. And Zero says, is that what man wanted oil for? To kill fish. I feel like there's a commentary about oil.
About pollution or whatever.
The drive for oil. And it's a really unusual commentary to put in here.
That's what I thought, too.
And why does Zero even know about their demand for oil?
Well, I was
trying to news. Like, I don't know why she knows this.
I was trying to think back. In the first 2 movies, at any point did we see apes with torches?
No, not that I can recall.
No, they had guns, which would suggest that they either rehomed or reclaimed those guns, or actually had metallurgy to build those guns.
Did we have in the first one? Were there any places like when Taylor and Zaius were in his?
Yeah,
room?
See, like I want to feel like
there torches. It felt like there were, but I don't recall.
Because you would have used oil to keep that burning rather than just a.
But to Richard's point, how does that get you to the point of what man wants oil for?
What I'm saying is
it's an odd Dane comment to throw in there. I think it's supposed to be a commentary for this moment, but again, I have no idea why Zero or Cornelius even care about.
And what's
oil.
her correlation? Did they want it to kill fish?
Right. Like she's making a joke. Like it's supposed to be an odd joke. Is that what man went oil for? To kill fish? Like it's supposed to be a joke?
It just was weird.
It falls a little flat.
Yeah.
And I went back on the fact that man wanting oil was a commentary on even in 1972 that this is kind of what they were already seeing. I mean, we move into an oil crisis by 78, 79.
Right.
And we're already at this point probably dealing with some type of Gulf states,
OPEC
kind of situation. So there's a commentary that he's making that just kind of was tossed in last minute, I guess.
Maybe.
And it's a joke, but it kind of falls flat, I guess.
Again, if you'd set up that joke somewhere, maybe that makes sense. And maybe if instead of going to a museum to see scary monkeys and she finds out she's pregnant, maybe if she'd gone to an oil field and talked about oil, and it was just odd.
It was.
I did have to watch it 2 or 3 times to go, did I miss something? Did I literally miss something?
Yeah.
And anyway, baby Milo's face. We get a good shot of Zara holding him.
Right.
And what I found interesting, and I'm curious, I wish I could find more about John Chambers in the creation of the makeup, how the baby almost has beneath its eyes more of a black-ish skin tone around the cheeks. I wonder why he didn't do a little bit more of that with them, and that therefore that could have hidden some of, the human characteristics that still remain beyond their prosthetics.
Because they're probably reusing stuff that they've already made. So
yeah, but you would think he would have studied that up front. I found that interesting because then when you do look at chimps, they do have that darker skin tone around their eye sockets and things like that.
Much like humans, all chimps are slightly different from each other. So some have lighter skin, some have darker skin. Yeah.
It was one of those that hit me, and I thought, hey, maybe baby Milo, sweet Milo, could have been the throughput to really, really realistic apes.
Again, we go back on to me for last minute with this kind of nice little casual conversation between the two of them, knowing that Hasline is kind of hanging out there. It would have been nice to have this moment between them a little. I mean, it's a couple interacting with each other. This is something It's a conversation I could hear any of us talking to our spouses about.
Exactly.
Just kind of casual, or really good friends on that level. Like, you don't like them, do you? Who? Like, who are you talking about? Like, just kind of being done. Humans. Oh, we've met hundreds here, and I trust like 3. Like, it was so a little thoughtful.
My note was Zera's part in cat because she doesn't like humans. Then she meets Taylor and she likes humans. Then she meets Brent and she can tolerate humans. Then she meets Dixon and she likes humans. But now she hates all humans except for 3 humans. It's like, make up your mind.
Who's our 3?
Taylor?
Dixon, Brent, and Armando.
Armando, Brent, and Dixon.
Stevie. Because later on,
Dixon. I mean, Brant. That's Brant.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're putting them together as one.
Dixon is 1. Branton's 2. Armando's 3.
Yeah, those are the 3 she trusts in this timeline.
In the present.
Right?
See, I automatically put Taylor above all
Taylor's
else.
dead, though.
It doesn't matter. She
can't trust what's not there.
She does say here, I've met hundreds here, and I trust 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we assume the 3rd is Armando?
That's what I'm assuming. Yes.
Yeah.
Dixon, Brant, and Armando.
What, you don't think she trusts Otto? I'm kidding.
Well, I'm trying to imagine who else she knows. I mean, I guess that 3 is Armando.
The orderly that they murdered.
Chipper?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole things that we were talking about, scenes being wrong, this is where I had my note. Wait, what the hell? It feels like this scene should have been flipped with the previous one. So you see Hasline descend, then start scanning, then you come to here, I'll find somewhere cleaner, to Hasline scanning, and he sees Cornelius.
The only thing that I found wrong in the scene, or lacking, is that with him, with the oranges everywhere, I know in my spouse, she would say, how many times are you going to count the oranges? And that would imply that he's worried about how they're going to survive. I think that would have been a nice moment, or a nice line to put in that was very spousal, that talks about, because there's no urgency to their scene that they're hiding. If you put something like that in there, they know that they have to stay.
And to that point, if she'd done that back and forth between 2 different questions at once, one on one subject, one other, that sounds like my spouse.
Yeah.
How are you going to continue to count those oranges? Did Lewis really play here as a child?
Yes.
Like, that's something a spouse would do.
Yeah.
Like, complain
God
about
knows.
something you're doing right now and then ask another question right after it. Not expecting an answer. It was not meant to be answered.
Right.
Right. It was just it was a jab.
It was the only thing that I found lacking in the scene. But yes, Sean, this was the very moment that I came back to time and time again. It allows the movie to breathe up here. It allows us to. There's actually a rule, a name for this in storytelling, the device where you interject what we care about before the threat arises. And I can't recall what that's called, but you have to, it's just like when you show the gun before you shoot the gun, you have to show what we love so we know something's going to happen. You have to remind, and to me, they lose, by putting this here, you lose what Hasline's arrival would really mean. Because the way this would work was we would see Otto looking at the oil field with the police officers. You would then put this scene in. You would let it play. Mm-hmm. And then we would need something to get Otto there. That's the only reason. The only thing we need is something that tells him to get there. And that's the only problem with why it's not there.
Well, let's talk about the next 2 lines and what is supposed to happen according to Dane's script.
Okay.
Zero says he wants a feeding. And Cornelius says, there must be a cleaner place than this. I'll go look. The description that Dane has in the script, which is not acted out, is as she prepares to suckle baby Milo, Cornelius tactfully thinks of a good reason to leave her alone. There must be a cleaner place than this. I'll go look. So he's trying to give her a private moment with the baby. We don't have any suckling because this is, we're
1971.
1970. Yeah, it's a little early to actually be showing this on the screen. But this idea of a mother feeding her child before the threat comes, I think plays to your point. I mean, this is a very vulnerable moment and a very important moment between a mother and a child. And this idea that it's about to be interrupted, I think would have been really, really hard as an audience.
Well, see, then I find exception with there must be a cleaner place, because I kept thinking, for him to say that implies that now he's going to look for a cleaner place, but he also knows she's going to feed the baby. Why didn't he say, I'll give you a moment of privacy? Why didn't he say something like that? Then he would step out. And your intimacy is there.
The description in a second or two, when we kind of come back to Zira in the next minute, Dane is really trying to play up how dark this location is. Mm-hmm. And even though it's lit very, very well right now, he is trying to basically play up how they are on an abandoned oil rig with very minimal light coming through, and we can't stay here kind of idea. It's not really played up with the way it's lit, because we just complimented how well the only scene is lit right now. Like, I could hang out there all day.
And it looks natural, too. I mean, it looks like it's a little overlit for what you would think the inside of that would be, but it's still very interesting.
Yeah.
Cleaner doesn't matter. Privacy does. My wife would not have cared were I there and she fed our daughter. However, in that day and time, the idea that the woman needed a moment of privacy for this kind of thing would have made sense. It would have allowed him to go out. He's outside for that reason.
Well, you think about the complexity of the shipyard. I mean, you really could, assuming there's not people walking these abandoned ships all the time, you really could find a cabin or a place
just
and hang out there for a week. You really could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Hell, even if people were looking for you, if they didn't know where to look, you could hide there for a week.
You could. You really, really could. I mean, you could hang out in the interior and just kind of keep an eye out for the outside. I mean, you could survive here if you really needed to.
So where does this minute end?
With what we assume is Hassline's car pulling up to the dock.
What happens?
We don't know. We don't. Yeah, we're not to that shot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. But it was just so odd because I'll go look for a cleaner place, and then you see him kind of move out to the exterior.
That's the next.
And then you see Hassline begin to pull into the area.
Yeah.
The area that he just saw. Because clearly, even with his binoculars, he was a little bit further than on the ship just next to us.
It's his pulling up into the area of the shot that's almost from the vantage point of the ship looking down where you see some water.
It is.
I found that shot really weird because if it's so important that he's
arriving. Why is he parking so far away?
Jesus Christ. Well, why is the information so far away that it took me... Even watching it straight through, I was looking around at everything before. I went, there's a car pulling in.
Yeah.
It's not the obvious thing you see.
Well, he had to go back to his car, though. Remember, he's up on a perch.
Yeah, I get that.
And he climbed back down to those parts to get to his car to then speed off. But
I'm just talking about the construction of the shot.
Yeah, honestly, the way he saw Cornelius with the binoculars made me think that they were a lot closer than they were.
Yeah, that's true. Why is Otto's car not a more distinct color that would stand out? Because in that shot when he pulls up, you look at it, you've got the grayish metal in the foreground, you've got the grayish of the docks, and he pulls in and the car is kind of like a hazy bluish color or something like
greenish.
Okay, and so it just sort of blends in. Yeah.
No, well, that's it for me though.
Wow, minute 89, we
kind of petered out
pretty quick.
Did we?
Well, I think the thing is that we've said ad nauseum that these minutes, all these moments kind of need to be flipped in a different manner to make absolute total sense. So we've beat that one. Yeah, it's there. All right, fine. We're done with 89.
I didn't need his car to pull up, honestly. It didn't need to be there at all.
Well, again, that goes to the whole thing of why do we always have to see the cars coming and going? Why can't we just, when I talked before about it coming out of the Stevie and